This problem wants us to determine what are all values of x for which the given definite integral here from x to 1 of t cubed dt is the value going to equal 0. And so what this is really saying, if we pull it out, is when does the definite integral from x to 1 of t to the third dt equal 0? That's the problem we need to find an answer to. The first half of this answer is pretty straightforward to find if you remind yourself of a rule for definite integrals. And that rule says that if I have my bounds are the same value, if I have the definite integral from the same number to the same number on top here of any function, no matter what it is, that answer is always going to be 0. So first and foremost, I know that if my lower bound matches my upper bound here, then that has to equal 0. So using this rule, I know immediately that x equals 1 has to be a part of my answer. So any answer that doesn't include that, you could quickly and easily throw away. The other part of your answer is going to be found by just performing a definite integral on this and then going ahead and solving that definite integral solution for x. So to do a definite integral here, we would use our power rule. Our power rule for definite integrals, step 1 of the process says add 1 to the power. And then from there, step 2, divide by that new power. So let's go ahead and do that and see where that gets us. So we add 1 to the power. Adding 1 to the power here would give me t to the 4th divided by that new power. And then I'm going to evaluate this from my lower bound t equals x to my upper bound t equals 1. Then I do what I just call my top minus bottom move. So to finish this up, you're going to take your top value, plug that into the equation, and subtract off of that the bottom value plugged in. So plugging in 1, I get 1 to the 4th over 4 minus the bottom value plugged in, x to the 4th over 4. Now I remind myself that this whole thing needs to equal 0. And so here now I just have an algebra problem in front of me that I need to solve. So I keep running through the algebra. I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to add this x to the 4th over 4 to the other side. I always like to make things positive whenever possible. I hate the negatives. So then I also can kind of quickly clean up. 1 to the 4th would just be 1. That needs to equal x to the 4th over 4. Then we'll isolate that x term by going ahead and multiplying by what's on bottom here on both sides. So I multiply both sides by 4. The 4's on this side would cancel out, and that's going to leave me 1 equals x to the 4th. Final move on this, well, almost a final move. We're going to go ahead and 4th root both sides of this. Remember that when you apply a root, whether it's a square root, a 4th root, a 6th root, whenever it's an even root, you always get out the plus minus version of the answer. So the 4th root of 1 would be plus or minus 1. And that would be our two answers here. We already knew one of them. That was x equals 1. We kind of got that one for free at the beginning. And then the other one here is going to be x equals negative 1. So we go and look for the answer that includes only those two options. And so that's going to be option C. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.